Hey guys, it's Josh here, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 6 rules I follow to avoid entrepreneur burnout. Now, I've been running a business for the last 5 years and I've burnt out twice in that time. In the past, I've been prone to anxiety, stress, overthinking, and emotional kind of reactivity. And I've done a pretty good job of getting that under control over the last 15 years. And now I actually help others do the same, right? I run a coaching business, I make these videos, and I help people overcome their anxiety, overcome their negative thoughts, and overcome their emotions. However, the new beast for me is really this burnout beast. And that's kind of making sure that I'm not working too hard or I'm not bringing too much emotion or stress into my work and then burning out because of it. Because these days I'm quite passionate about helping other people, but if I overextend myself or if I overgive myself, I can end up burning myself out. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about the 6 rules that I follow to avoid entrepreneur burnout. And these have been rules that have helped me really find some balance and some flow in my life and in my work. And it's really helped me live a more calm, confident, and clear life. And so the first rule that I wanted to share with you is really just protecting your morning time and your night time, right? Protect morning and night time. Now, when you're a business owner, it's so easy for you to just wake up, check your phone, check client messages, check emails, check invoicing, and kind of just check all of those things. And if you're like me, maybe in the past or even maybe right now, you just wake up and you just do that straight away. You just straight away jump on your phone, straight away start checking your emails or your social media or your client messages or whatever it is. And let me tell you, that is just a sure way to burn yourself out. Or you do it at night. You're ready for bed. It's like 9 o'clock, and you go to bed. And well, I go to bed around 9 o'clock because we have 2 kids. But you know, getting ready to wind down for bed, and you just end up just sitting there on your phone and for like another hour or even 2 hours, just scrolling or looking at emails or addressing issues that really don't need to be addressed at 9:30 at night. And if you're not careful, your morning and your nighttime will just get hijacked by work stuff, right? And the thing with the morning and the night, which is why it's so important to protect that time, is because your subconscious mind is just wide open at that time of the day. And so if you're just allowing any kind of information to go into your subconscious mind at that time of the night, then you're fucked basically, right? You're not going to go down a good path if you're constantly just cooking your brain with stress and work related kind of issues. Now, what I do in the morning and the night to maintain more peace, presence, and purpose in my life is I am intentional with how I spend my time before I go to bed and when I wake up. So for me, that looks like reading. I'll read a lot of books. I'll do some journaling. I will meditate. I'll do these kinds of healthy habits to make sure I get a good night's sleep so that I can wake up and feel calm and feel um, you know just happy with life and happy with the work that I'm doing. If you're someone who's prone to burnout or anxiety or depression, you can get yourself into this Groundhog Day experience where it's like you wake up and uh, you lose all motivation. You just end up kind of apathetic or depressed, and it's like you start to wonder why you're even doing it in the first place. Um, like I love the work that I do, right? I feel like I'm honestly living my purpose. But sometimes if I'm pushing myself to the limits, it's like that alone is not enough to keep me sustaining that kind of a workload. So, you know, even though I love my work, I want to live like a happy life. I want to live a good life. I want to have energy and inspiration. And, you know, there are exceptions to the rule. Like you see people like, Elon Musk or, Jeff Bezos or someone like Alex Hormozy, if you're familiar with the online space. And there's this big culture around just hustle, 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 grind, 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 work like 16 hours a day, sleep for 6, right? And maybe eat for like 1. And, you know, you, some people can do that. For me and people who I know are prone to burnout or anxiety, it's like you don't want to be living like that, right? You want to actually enjoy your life. And one way that you can do that is to protect the morning and the nighttime. So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2, right? So we're going to go through 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rule number 2 is to have clear boundaries and standards. You've got to be intentional with the way that you want to live your life, right? You're going to have clear boundaries. If you're someone who just says yes to everyone, you say yes to everyone, you say yes to everything, and you find it impossible to say no or to set a boundary, then you're just going to burn yourself thin. You're going to be doing everything for everyone. You're going to have no time for yourself, and you're going to end up actually building up resentment and anger and frustration because you're constantly, stretching yourself thin for others, and you're going to build up this resentment because you're not, usually you're not actually being acknowledged for everything that you do. I got a good friend of mine who is exactly like this. He runs an electrical business, and he would do anything for anyone, right? But he is also probably the most stressed person I know, and he has physical issues because of his stress levels, right? He's got different kind of issues going on within his physical system, his body, which I know are because of the stress and the inflammation that is in his body. So if you don't have clear boundaries and standards, and you end up stressing yourself out and doing, things for everyone and never even having enough time for yourself, that stress can really build up. That's a mental and emotional stress that can actually build up to a point where it creates physical problems for you, right? And although this guy's a nice guy, right, he would do anything for anyone. He's like a doormat, right? Everyone just walks all over him, and he's got this internal resentment, which you can just tell because he gets so stressed. And I've seen him blow up a few times as well, right? We don't want to blow up. We want to be calm, balanced. And one of the ways to do that is to have clear boundaries and standards to let people know, right? Okay, I'm not okay with doing that. I don't have the energy for that right now. This is not a priority for me right now. Yeah, I heard one guy say, I don't have the appetite for that right now. So he's able to say no because he's like, I don't have the appetite for that right now. So clear boundaries and standards, knowing what to say yes to and knowing what to say no to, and being okay with doing that, right? A lot of people will say that they have time management issues. They're like, oh, I just don't have enough time in the day. What I've found is that time management issues are actually more like emotional management issues, because it's not about the time, it's about the fact that they can't say no to others, so they are putting too many things into their schedule. So they think it's a time problem, but if they just learn how to say no and to be okay with that, which is, most people who struggle with saying no can't say no because they feel guilty. And so they can't manage that emotion of guilt, right? And so you've got to learn how to manage your emotions. And when you can do that, you can say no to someone and not feel guilty, and then you're going to get your time back. So clear boundaries and standards is the next kind of thing. Protecting the morning and nighttime, clear boundaries and standards, super important, right? Now, another thing for me, I want to have a good life, right? So lifestyle first, right? And I'm not ashamed to say that. I've built a business because I want to help people. And I've also built a business because I want to have a life of freedom. That's why most of us build businesses, right? We want to have freedom in our life. We want to be the boss of our own schedule and our own time. We want to be able to make money for ourselves. We want to be self-sufficient. And so, once you do start to run a business, it's so easy to get caught up in your 12-hour days, constantly just like pushing and grinding and more and more and more. And then you get lost, and then you realize you just kind of, it's like you're an employee in your business. So it's like you're working for the business instead of having the business work for you. Right? So this is why lifestyle first is so important. I build the business around the life that I want to live. So I got clear on the life that I want to live, and then I build the business, right? And I haven't always done it like this. Like definitely in the first few years, I was working like 12-hour days, pushing, grinding, hustling, and I burnt out because of it. These days, it's lifestyle first. And one thing that helps with that is this little word called leverage, right? I'll pop it here. Leverage. So people start to learn about leverage usually a bit further in their business journey, and when they start getting staff, or when they start to realize that they can use their time in a way where they're able to maximize output and minimize input. So getting more done in less time. That's leverage, right? And it's really, there's a age-old kind of quote, which is work smarter, not harder. That's what leverage is, right? So you want to really learn how to work smarter and not harder. You want to learn how to utilize leverage, and you really want to make sure that you put your lifestyle first. So thinking about what kind of life you actually want to live. Something that helps for that is the perfect day. I'll put this video in the description of this YouTube video. There's a video by a guy called Frank Kern. He has this idea, which is the perfect day. Design your perfect day. Get clear on what's in your perfect day, and then create your life around that. So I will actually put the link to that video, which is on YouTube, in the description of this video, and you can have a watch of that, and it's an amazing video. Another thing is, if you want help with this stuff, one of the things that I do with my clients at Mind Launch is I help them to consciously create their life, to consciously create the way that they want to live. That includes building new routines, building new habits, building a new vision, getting clear on how you actually want to live your life, right? And that's a big part of the work that I do with my clients. So if you're interested in getting some help from me personally, you can also go into the video description, and there'll be links to either work with me one-on-one privately or join my membership, where you can have access to all my methods, frameworks, and resources so that you can move through everything in a self-paced way. Lifestyle is so important. I'm a big lifestyle guy, right? Now, number 4, regulation as strategy. So what does that mean? Being regulated, being self-regulated, having a regulated nervous system as the strategy. What I mean by that is, if you're constantly stressed, under pressure, anxious, burnt out, everything that's coming out of you, work-wise, relationship-wise, communication-wise, is going to be stressed, anxious, under pressure, and feeling like it's just burning you out even more. When you make self-regulation, nervous system regulation, and basically your own sense of internal balance and internal peace, the strategy, everything that you do is going to be more peaceful. It's going to be more calm. It's going to be more balanced. It's going to be more aligned. Okay, and so every single day I meditate the first thing in the morning, and then I usually get my journal out and I write down how I want to be thinking today, how I want to be feeling, tasks that I want to accomplish. And I spend about half an hour or so each morning just really clearing my mind and getting myself into a nice, calm, clear, and focused state to start my day. And then I go and do whatever I need to do, right? In the past, that's not always been the case. In the past, I've just got up, have a coffee, and just bang into work, right? And I'm sure that a lot of people do that, right? But again, if you want to avoid burnout, it's better to get some healthy habits in place, so that you can check in with yourself and be conscious of how you actually want to live your life and how you actually want to achieve certain things in the day. Don't get me wrong, you can just coffee and boom, straight into work, but are you going to live the life that you actually want to live? My uncle runs a massive business here in Queensland, Australia, and he's got 4 kids, and he's very successful, and he's probably getting close to 60 now, and he has always worked so hard, and that's why he's so successful now. However, I had a conversation with him where I've got a couple of kids myself now, and he was telling me, you've got to make the most of when the kids are young, because you won't get that time back. So he would always just go to work and hustle, and yeah, he built a big business, which is great, but he missed out on a lot of time with his family and with his kids. So you've got to think about, what do you want, right? Do you want to create that big business and have all that success? Maybe you do, right? I personally want to do that, and I want to have time for my family, for my kids, and to be present, and to actually enjoy my life. So some people think that you can't have both. I think that you can. I think that you can have whatever you want if you know what you want. And so, how do you know what you want? Well, you've got to start thinking about it. You've got to get clear in your mind. You've got to regulate yourself and then think about it. Build your strategy from there. Don't build your strategy from this stressed, anxious kind of pressure. Build it from a calm and clear and focused place. Cool. So that helps. Now, another thing is, mindful exercise and nutrition. Last year, I was doing strength training with a PT, and I was going to the gym a lot and lifting a lot of heavy weights, and it was great. It was awesome. However, I noticed when I was training like 5 times a week, lifting weights and eating a shit ton of food, it was a lot of stress on my system as well, right? Again, some people are okay with that, right? Some people just like want to just get jacked and get really big and all this kind of stuff. I noticed that when I did that, it put a lot of stress on my system. Okay, what works better for me is training like 2 to 3 times a week with strength training, and then doing more cardio, and also not eating as much food. I was eating so much food because I was trying to get big, but that just put all of this pressure and stress on my system, because your digestion is actually it takes up a lot of energy to digest food. So now I'm eating less, still training a fair amount, but it's just more mindful, right? Because I noticed when I was training a lot and eating a lot, it would stress out my system a lot more, and it would lead more to burnout. Whereas these days, I'm kind of introducing more holistic approach, right? With some cardio, more recovery, better nutrition, less food, not just trying to eat everything that I can get in my mouth. And that's helped me just feel a lot more calmer and a lot more clearer. Again, we're optimizing here to avoid burnout and to live a calm, clear, confident life. And these are the rules that have helped me. Okay, so mindful exercise and nutrition, thought I would mention that. Another thing as well is like sleep, making sure you're getting a good sleep, which actually kind of ties back into, number one here, right? Sleep is really important. Recovery is really important for sustainability. I've got 2 kids, a wife, a business, a body to maintain. There's a bit on. And if you're an entrepreneur who has a family and a business, you know what I'm talking about. You're trying to keep all these different areas of your life operating smoothly, okay? And that's really what I'm about. And that's what I think this video is about, is creating balance in all these different areas of your life so that you can have everything kind of functioning well, right? Balance. That's what it's all about. So finally, the last rule is the spiritual filter. Again, this is something that I'm often thinking about. It's the spiritual filter. So I really believe that we all have a unique path in life. We all have a unique kind of purpose or soul-driven kind of mission. And for me, it's what I just said. It's, I want to have a family, I want to have a business, I want to have a good lifestyle, and I want to have everything working, together well. Your spiritual filter might be different. Your soul filter might be different. You might be like an Elon Musk or an Alex Hormozi or a Jeff Bezos, and maybe you do just want to have probably like an unbalanced life. You can do that, right? You can have a business and just go full into the business and just make multi-millions of dollars, and then maybe the family doesn't really do well. Like, I don't know if you know Elon Musk. He's had this like multiple wives. Jeff Bezos had a divorce as well, right? I want to keep my family in check. I want to keep my business in check, and I want to have balance. That's my spiritual filter. You've got to think about, what's your spiritual filter? Like, what do you actually want for your life? And then you've got to optimize for that, right? Because I really believe that our intuition is always trying to talk to us and guide us. If we're starting to burn out or we're getting too anxious or depressed, it just means that we've gone on the wrong path. Okay? So you can use the spiritual filter to get back into alignment and think about, what do I actually want to do with my life? How do I actually want to live my life, right? That takes a certain level of self-awareness. And again, you've got to have a clear mind for that. And this is exactly what I help my clients do inside Mind Launch. So if you found this helpful and you would like more help with these issues, and you would like to get your stress and anxiety under control, you would like to get your burnout under control, and you would like to become the most calm, clear, and confident leader that you can be in all areas of your life, not just your business, then in the link of this video, in the description, you'll find 2 links. A link to either work with me one-on-one privately or to join the Mind Launch membership. And I would love to help you out. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.